Yo guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tabisa Malomani, and if you've been following the series, you know what this is about. So I'm doing a series titled Pressures in Your Mid-20s. So I had two sessions where I had the guys and I had the ladies, and today we have the group discussion, which is everybody in there. Well, not everybody's gonna be there, but like a representation of the two groups are gonna be there, and we're gonna all have one discussion regarding the pressures. I'm very excited for today, so please stay tuned. Do leave comments, what your inputs are and what you think of the things we actually discuss and talk about. The introductions don't have to be long, just say your name. Yeah, I guess just say your name and your age if you want to. We have Itu Meleng, who was supposed to make the ladies session, but she didn't make it the other time, so she's joined us today. So on my screen, we're gonna start with Itu, Mahase, Refilwe, then Khosi, and then the others when they come in, we'll do that. So Itu Meleng, you can introduce yourself. Okay, now.
Let me just on. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Idu. I think we just need to say our names right. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, nice to meet all of you.
You can tell us your age because we didn't see you the other time.
So I am currently 26 years old. So yeah.
Relationship status?
So I'm currently in a relationship right now, but not married yet. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, then Refilwe, your turn.
Hi guys, I am Refilwe, 25 and in a relationship.
Okay, then it's Mahase.
Hi guys, I'm Mahase Mola. I'm 26 and I'm currently in a relationship.
And then Khosi.
Hi everybody, my name is Khosi and I am 27 and I'm in a relationship also.
Mukwena, welcome, right on time. Your time to introduce yourself. You're on mute. And she's stuck. What a combo. Damn. Okay. Anyway, so today, because it's a full house, guys, we will use the whole hand raising if you want to say something. I don't have any specific questions, like I said, so today will be more general questions. I did get a little bit of feedback from the two videos that we posted on YouTube, and I should say relationships, guys, are missing this generation. A lot of people were very interested in what you guys had to say about relationships. So yeah, okay, Mugwena is back. Mugwena, do you want to introduce yourself?
Guys, what am I supposed to say? Like
Your name,
just hi.
your age, whatever.
All right. Hi guys, my name is Mugwena Moloto. I am 25 officially, and I am single.
Okay, great stuff. What do you do?
The energy, she's just like, single.
Yeah. So, somebody said to me, okay, fine. The pressures, right? We structured in like three main topics, which was relationships, careers, and finances, right? And somehow they have a negative connotation to it. When we say pressures, it's like it has a little bit of negative attached to it. So I just want to ask you guys, are there any positive pressures that you guys have identified or you have experienced that were actually not coming from a negative space, but actually made you want to do better or inspired you to do better? So is there anybody who wants to take that? We will be using the raising the hand function. So yeah. Mahase, let's go.
I think from my side, the one thing that was pressure, but made me grow up very quick was when I found out that I was going to be a father. So it kind of like made me grow up. My priorities changed, and I actually started taking my own life seriously as well. So yeah,
It gave you a little bit of meaning.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like sometimes I don't know what I'm living for. I'm just living for myself, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I can do whatever. I don't care. Any other comments?
Okay, I'll go. So I think for me, it was, or I felt that sort of like positive pressure when I was in varsity, especially nearing the end of my varsity years, because I always just felt like the friends that I surrounded myself with were people who, are go-getters, and they were serious about everything. And a lot of them finished the year. Well, so when I was in my final year, a lot of them were already done. And, I just felt like it was a lot of motivation because they already had jobs, and, they didn't waste time. I remember when I was in my second year and they were in final year, they were busy looking, trying to find like a graduate program or trying to plan ahead to see, what is after varsity. So I think for me, that was positive because I also was like, you know what, I need to get myself in check, I need to also have a plan for myself. And yeah, I think it's like just surrounding yourself with people that build you up. So for me, it was a positive thing. It wasn't like a negative thing where I felt this pressure that I couldn't, couldn't succeed. So yeah.
Okay, nice. So we do have positive pressures. Welcome back, songs. People have done their introductions, so can you please quickly just introduce yourself, name, age? You can add relationship status if you want to.
My name's Songs. I'm 27 and I'm in a relationship.
Wow, that changed from the last time we had this conversation.
Yeah, I'm playing an extreme sport here in this COVID-19.
Whoa! Great.
Extreme sports.
Okay. And then now I'm gonna ask: do you ladies have any questions that you wanna direct to the guys? In your view of what's happening in society, the pressures that you think they have. Do you guys have any questions that you'd like the guys to address?
Is this like, sorry, can you like bring your question to more of a category? Like, it's so broad, like
yeah, so today the question, we don't have specific questions, so we're just having a conversation overall, a general conversation. And then I will bring in some feedback that I got from people, but then I just wanted to start with you guys. Yeah, so just but the main thing I think people were more interested in, or a lot of feedback that I got from people who watched was in terms of relationships, right? I mean, even today somebody asked me about the whole entanglement issue that's been happening around social media, but anyway, we'll cover that later. So do you guys have any question that you think you want to ask the guys? And so the guys, you can also just think of a question that you guys want to ask the ladies in terms of pressures that you think are there for the other gender.
Okay, just to get the topic started, then I'll ask how any guy can answer how your goals in terms of dating has changed from when you started dating, perhaps in varsity, as to you dating now that you're working and growing to be, and well, we are adults, growing to be older.
I think Jose can go. He gave a perfect answer the last time.
This guy.
Makas, why are you saying that? Has your goal not changed?
No, well, obviously for me it's changed, and like I look, I'm dating for, right now it's long term. It has to be long term. It's building my own future, building my own legacy for me and my daughter as well, because I'm still with the mother of my child. So it's just really building a future and a family together. Well, me dating now. Oh, unfortunately, I don't actually.
That's how it all is. We all is in our 20s.
Yeah, but like, yeah, for me, it's that's where I am right now. It's just dating for long term and building a family future together. Yep.
Yeah, as a fan of a chip in, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I think I think Marcus is right when it comes to especially dating in your 20s. You start to realize that life you know life on your own is not ideal. So you start looking for someone who can be able to be a partner, like a long term partner or a lifetime partner. Um, so there's certain decisions that you take um, in your 20s when you start dating. You date for you date for a long term purpose. So in most cases, the goals that you normally would adopt when you approach dating in your 20s is this person ambitious? Is this person going to be a a, a great partner? Especially when things start to go south, you start wondering, asking yourself if that type of person meets those type of criteria where if you're in your low, would they be able to help you to be at your highs? Um, you also ask yourself, questions such as, is this person, good with people? And then you start looking at people around you. Look at your friends, you look at your family, potentially look at your own child or children if you have. So those are some of the goals that you start changing and prioritizing as soon as you go into the 20s or even your late 20s, because you didn't realize that time, time is weird. You need someone who can be able to fulfill all those things, with time. So you wouldn't want to waste your time with someone who's not going to be able to do that. So in most cases, you think about the potential of how someone can be able to, or the potential of how someone can be able to sort of be an effect on your life, and that's pretty much in a nutshell what those goals are.
Okay.
Just to add on that, one of the feedbacks that came from the guys' discussion, you guys were talking about dating potential, right? So somebody asked, what happens when this potential is not reached, right? So you guys said, like, for the period where this person is still working towards potential, you are still pressurized as the guy. But what if this potential is never reached? What then?
So I guess for me, it's entirely based on the sheer will, or how shall I put it, the desire. So if you have the desire to be able to accomplish whatever that you want to accomplish, I think for me, reaching whatever potential that you want to reach it's unquestionable. So because I think if someone doesn't have the desire or even the ambition to be able to, I suppose, introspectively tell themselves that they want to reach or they want to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish, then it pretty much sort of removes the leg of someone reaching that potential. So at the end of the day, you don't only look at the fact that someone can have potential, but you also sort of couple it with the desire to reach their potential. And I think that's the key thing that you need to couple it with potential. Potential alone doesn't just go for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Jose, because it's difficult to say someone hasn't reached their potential, because to say someone has not reached it, it means you are giving someone a time period in order for them to reach it. So let's say now I don't reach my goal in 6 months like you've given me. Then what happens after that? What is it now over? Because I didn't reach it within that time period. I think it's very important that you match it with the desire so that at least you can see that your person is working towards it.
Okay. Mukwena, you'll go, then Makase will go after.
I've got a different question. So if Makasi wants to answer this one, then we'll come back to me.
Okay. Makase, you can go.
Yeah, just to add on that, man. As long as that person knows where they want to be in life, you understand, and they're actually working towards it. Not all promised success, in life, but as long as you continuously try, and you have the right attitude in life, then even if you don't get to where you want to be, but I'm pretty sure you'll be somewhere close to there, as long as you have that desire, as they've mentioned already.
Okay.
Yes.
Rafilo, do you want to ask a question, or are you commenting on this question?
I want to ask a question, so I'll go after Mukwena.
Okay. Mukwena, you can go.
Yeah, I like what Makase and Josi both said, but I think like a lot of times, and when I'm sitting with my single ladies and we're having a chat, there's always that question of where are the good guys? I mean, I can hear Luna, you guys are talking about you guys have changed, and you guys are more focused, and you guys are looking long-term wise, but then now a lot of people are just being bombarded left, right, and center. And it's always a question of where are the good guys? Are they all taken or batting? So do you guys, I know, like Makas, I know you taken, but like, do you have a squad of your friends that you know that they are looking towards long term and they're not about just playing around? Because I mean, this question always comes up, but we meet people that keep saying, nah, I'm in for the long term, but they take it. So are there single guys that are good, that are still out there?
Just to answer your question, I don't know whether there are single good guys or honestly I don't. I think in my second year in varsity, I stopped actually hanging with a group of guys. So I only have 1 or 2 guy friends, but they in no way close to each other. So I'd have 1 guy friend there, 1 guy friend there, 1 guy friend there. Because one thing I've noticed that having that squad of friends, from my experience, based on my experience. So I don't usually hang with a group of guys like that. Do you understand? I do have female friends, but with my guy friends specifically, it's never friends that are actually friends with each other, right? We're not mutual friends in any way. So yeah, and if someone asks me that question, I'd say that good guy is probably your best male friend.
No,
Me too. I don't think.
Whoa, wow. From a 0 to 100 real quick. Yes, Rafilo.
Guys, just to add on to that, I also want to say that society has normalized, especially our generation, we've normalized this being savage, this dribbling culture, this, like unloving culture. So I think that contributes a lot to people asking where are the good guys. So that's my comment on that. And then the question is, society has these rules, for lack of a better word, that men can't be vulnerable, men can't cry and show emotion and stuff. So I want to ask the guys, how has that affected in growing up and in your 20s? And is that something you've been able to let go of as you've matured and stuff, be it with your partner or your friends or with your schools?
Sorry, will I just come again? I didn't get that question entirely. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay, I was saying that society has these rules around how it should be, that men don't express emotions, men shouldn't be vulnerable and stuff, that you take things like a man. So I'm asking you guys how that has affected you in growing up and in your 20s, and whether that you're able to let go of as you've been growing up and stuff, like with either your partner, your family members, or your friends.
Okay, so I think for me it became a lot more clearer. I think it was after I finished with my particular, after I graduated. There was a program that was done by the city of Tshwane, so it was sort of like an entrepreneurship type of program. And in that program, they were basically telling us or teaching us how to, manage a business. But over and above that, they taught us the principle of emotional intelligence. So in that program, they basically broke down each and every emotion and sort of highlighted the impact that it has on the type of decisions that we take. And ever since then, I've like literally worked so hard to control my emotions and to be able to be honest about how I feel. And in a lot of conversations that I also have with my girlfriend, I mean, I've always held the principle of honesty in front of everything. So if there's something that bothers me, I would tell her honestly, and I expect that she will understand my honesty, because sometimes honesty can be interpreted in such a way that it has a negative connotation. So I've pretty much worked on controlling my own emotions, but more over and above that, I've learned to be honest about my emotions as well, because I mean there's a two leg to it. There's a communication leg to it, and there's a management leg to it. So those two components actually pretty much influence the type of decisions that you will take, because it's quite weird how emotions literally affect what we decide. So if you're angry, most likely you will probably be spitting out words that you don't want to spit out. If you feeling down, you're most likely to go on shopping because it makes you happy. Those type of decisions that you take literally goes back to how you feel. And I've tried to manage that and regulate that about myself.
Okay.
Can I ask the ladies now, how have you guys made it easy for the men in your lives, not just your relationships, easy for them to be vulnerable in a way that they can express themselves without having a judgment on them and saying, oh my God, you crying, you weak, I feel like we also play a part in men not being vulnerable enough in society. How have you guys provided a safe space for that? If you have.
I think for me, what I've done is to listen. Sometimes advice isn't warranted in every space. So I've taught myself to take a back seat and just listen to him when he's expressing himself without giving advice or telling him how he should be handling it or telling him how he should feel, because I don't want to invalidate what he's feeling in that moment and what he's expressing in that moment. So that's how I created a safe space for him to be vulnerable with me.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing, that it's just a matter, the same way we do with our girls, just providing that ear is the most important thing. And I know that for guys it's so uncomfortable, so I'd do something we'd go out for ice cream, have an ice cream date and then just talk, And then we'd, like, I know with most of my friends, because like we love praying, we'd always just ask each other, so what am I praying for you this week, or what am I praying for you in this time? So we'd literally I'd literally just pray for them. So sometimes they don't want to talk about it, and that's understood, but just that I'm here with you, and I'm here with you spiritually, and here physically with you, and emotionally. I think that also kind of like builds that courage to talk about stuff.
Yeah, me too. I agree with the two ladies. So funny, that question, I've never thought about it before you've actually asked it. But now that you've asked it, it allows you to think how you allow someone to open themselves up to you. So I think when I look at myself and the personality that I have, I think that other than listening, when I believe something could possibly hurt someone, I verify. I'm a verifier. I will ask if it's okay if I can do this just in case. So I think in that way, my partner is able to say no or give his input on this particular situation, so that we are always able to be on the same level.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, as I was just gonna say, I think for me, I am a person who observes. So I will just observe the situation, and sometimes you can tell that someone is sort of holding back, and they don't really want to be open with you. So I think for me, it's about communicating that it's okay. A lot of the times, people don't know if it's a safe space for them to just say whatever or just open up. So I think for me, I sometimes also call my boyfriend out, or my friends, my male friends, and say, I can tell that you're holding back, or why didn't you tell me about this? Something that is, quite important that happened to you, So I think for me, it's just about letting people know that it's a safe space, and that they are, they should be open to communicating with you. So yeah.
Great stuff. Hasa and Khosi, do you guys have any specific questions you have regarding pressures that you think are affecting the ladies that you want to ask?
Look, you guys, you spoke about listening and being there for the guy also, right? But then, personally, Karen, why we guys sometimes hold back? Not myself in particular, but because I know I'm sensitive, and it's just the way it is. But like, I think as guys sometimes we feel like girls don't actually like sensitive guys, and guys who are always expressing their feelings openly, just like that. So I don't know, maybe we got it wrong or twisted, but yeah, I think I think that's the problem with guys sometimes, why they hold back, is because they actually think women have a problem with sensitive guys and guys being vulnerable like that, or showing that side of vulnerability.
Yeah, I also think that comes from the fact that men think that we're only attracted to strength, but there's also other things that attract us to men. So maybe because you think that that's our only thing, then you don't want to be vulnerable, because now you think you'll take that away. I don't know, just a maybe.
I also think like there's some kind of attractiveness that comes with a guy that is willing to talk about stuff. And I think also like society has made it so much about strength that men just automatically think that women don't like that. Like it's a good thing to, like, I don't mind to say don't be sensitive all the time, don't be crying every single second though, but like just talk about stuff, and just be human. That's the most beautiful thing about it. Like, just be human. Over sensitivity is just the other extreme, but like just sensitive guys actually are more attractive than a guy that's always like, I'm a dude's man, So yeah, I think it's also a matter of who you're talking to. Some girls might not like it, but it's always good just to test the waters and see, and don't just go in with something that is very heavy on you. You just start seeing, okay, where this girl is, and you'll figure out if that's even a person that's worth talking to about your inner struggles.
Jose raised your hand.
Yeah, so I suppose for me, like in my previous relationships and stuff, what I've observed is, it becomes. I think someone mentioned about the whole invalidating of how someone feels, and that's something that I've observed in my previous relationships, and I didn't even bother to actually open up and talk about stuff that makes me feel with my girl. I would always confide with my friends and tell them like, hey dude, this is how I'm feeling, and I think my friends were the most understanding people than the person that I was dating. It was a weird thing, of which it should have been both sides of the fence, but it wasn't. So in most cases, that's what, and nothing to Makas's point, that's what a lot of guys go through. They don't have someone who can be able to understand and listen. Because you can just hear someone talking, but you're actually not listening and internalizing what they're saying and understanding what they're saying. And that's particularly something that a friend or a best friend can be able to do. I don't know, but it's just how I've observed things, especially when it comes to guys expressing themselves with their women. It's a weird thing.
Yes, Makase, see you raised your hand there.
Yeah, it's just another question. I don't really know how I'm going to ask this, but from my experience and what I've seen, if I'm a guy and I do something wrong, the expectation always is just for me to say, you know what, I'm sorry, no excuses, and this is what happened. But then I feel like the same energy is not kept with women. Or there's a bit of a problem with in Garing. I'm looking for the word, man.
Accountability, my brother.
Accountability. Yeah, I feel like there's that huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of a problem when it comes to accountability and women. And as a guy, regardless of however big or small the problem is, I just have to apologize and say I'm sorry. Not even try to justify it, right? But with women, and I mean, eventually you end up apologizing for something that you didn't even know, just because of the accountability problem.
Yeah. Okay. So songs, you raised your hand, then Mukwena, and then I think Fifi also wanted to say something. So songs, you can start.
I raised my hand for a question, but I also do want to respond. Can I respond?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but my hand is still raised, by the way, just like for my question after this question. All I'm gonna say is I'm sorry. It's true.
Let's talk, man.
I can't. I'm gonna give it to the ladies. Maybe they have
Honestly,
an answer.
it's so true. Like,
I honestly don't have one.
just the first sentence he said, I was like, oh, you know what? You got it spot on. That is so true. Even when the lady is wrong.
It's true. It is true. I've been seeing memes and I'm like, yeah, kind of true. It's really true though. And I think we've made it such a norm. Like, the guy is always the problem, and you're about to just snap on it. And we've learned the skill actually. We've learned the skill of, you're wrong, and now you don't want to take accountability. You're about to spin this whole story. And he's going to say something wrong, and you jump on that thing that he said wrong. And now the topic is, you said something wrong, And we've learned that. And I think I think our generation needs to stop that. Like, it makes good entertainment when you talk to your girls about it. I think in general, because it's a relationship, we both need to be pulling on it. Like, we both need to be pulling our weight. And yeah, I think that's something we need to learn. Sorry to the guys.
I think it's also a courting thing.
Yeah,
you know? It's a thing, you know, that guys are always expected to be the ones chasing after the relationship.
Yes.
So even within the relationship, you're expected to always try be the bigger person, which is also not emotionally well for the guys. I think it's very straining. I've actually had a lot of conversations with a lot of guys who actually brought that up as a problem, like a huge problem. And it's true. Yeah, Refilo, you can.
And I think it's very unfair, actually. Like,
yeah,
it's really unfair for us to do that. This is a problem I had as well. But my boyfriend calls me out all the time. So it's a trait that I've actually been actively working on to get rid of, because I don't think it has a place in relationships. It's just not, it doesn't work.
And that's great. You see, the first thing to do is admitting that you have the problem, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're gonna work from it. Jose, you raised your hand.
Yeah, so I think for us it's you know, to my first point, it's pretty much you apologizing for you know, for the pursuit of peace.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the guy wouldn't apologize if they knew that they were right, but they just apologizing so that it can be peaceful. And and this is pretty much like a lot of guys just want peace. Like, if you can do all the fighting and do all the shouting and write paragraphs and books of complaining and like even old stuff that you did like 2 weeks or a month ago that were wrong, they will then, you know, be in the conversation. But for the sake of peace, the guy will always apologize. And that's fundamentally wrong in a relationship. You don't want to reach such a situation where you're just apologizing for peace.
Yeah.
You know, up until when are you going to apologize for peace?
But when you guys speak to your partners about it, like, isn't there like any progress? Do you guys have the conversation, or you know this is what's happening, but you're not telling your partner, or you know what, I'm like, even when you're wrong, you're not apologizing? Are you guys having that conversation with your partners?
I think Makasi can answer that. He has a hand.
Well, I actually wanted to ask a question, but I can answer that anyway. My partner knows, and I actively call it out as well. I'm telling her that no, I didn't do anything wrong. And usually, I mean, it took a while, but I've gotten to a point where, so long as I know that I'm not wrong, I do not apologize. I've gotten to that point. So rather we'll be mad at each other for 2-3 days, but then eventually in her own space, she'll think about actually what she did, right? And then come to her senses, then we can have a constructive conversation and move forward. But yeah, it took a while, you know. At first you were just apologizing for peace sake, but then after some time, after talking about it numerous times, yeah, it has gotten better. It has gotten better. But then what I wanted to ask is, you ladies, in your own spaces as ladies, do you actually talk about this and talk about dismantling it, if I should put it that way?
Mukwana, in songs you have your hands
We
up.
talk about it. We talk about it as a conversation, not dismantling it. Like, yo, for me, I did this, and then he was upset, so this is what I said. Like, it's like that kind of conversation. It's not like, we don't. Yeah, it's just a story. It's like
I had a friend who, like, I was telling about like this entire situation, and her comment was, well, you wouldn't have been able to spin everything on him if he did nothing wrong. So she was basically saying he was also in the wrong anyway. So like, like that's why you were able to spin the entire.
We should just stop.
I was like, okay.
Wow. Poor guys.
Stop.
Okay. I'm always still on that, right? Okay, so my question is, when this can go to both ladies and the gents. So when somebody's expressing themselves, right? And you don't want to invalidate what they're expressing, but you probably want to explain maybe your actions. Is that something that is valid, or is it, shouldn't you be explaining where you were coming from? I don't know if that question makes sense. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Can I go? Can I go first?
Yes.
So now I believe in the concept of being intellectually honest. So that is being unbiased. Because normally when you argue out your own points, you are biased towards your own points. You don't want to actually understand the situation of another person. So intellectual honesty then deals with the understanding of someone's perspective and not necessarily invalidating it. So so every time when I, not every time, but whenever I have an argument with my girlfriend, I try to understand her. I try to understand her perspective. I try to put myself in her shoes. Look at myself in her eyes and internalize her reality and my reality. So it's a very difficult thing to do, but it needs a lot of understanding and perspective, because once you break that barrier of understanding, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to understand what the person is saying, or even what the person is trying to explain to you, because you're looking at it at the lens of, I need to defend myself, I need to defend my actions, I need to defend what I said, I need to defend what I did, and it's never about, let me try to understand what they're saying, let me try to understand how it made them feel, let me try to put myself in their shoes and see how they see things. And that's just how that's just what people don't actually do in relationships is the whole concept of being honest.
Okay, so Jose, I get what you're saying, ne? But let's say now you understand, right? You're not coming defensively. You're understanding what this person is saying. But from your understanding, you still feel the need to explain yourself, that this is the reason why I behaved the way I behaved, right? And does that mean now you're invalidating this person's feelings or whatever they express themselves to? Or do you automatically, okay, I understand what you're saying, and I don't say anything further, or I don't have to explain to you what my understanding was, and then you just need to apologize? So is the action stopping at apologizing, or is there room for you to still explain, but from an understanding perspective?
So it's twofold, I would say. So the other aspect of it is the understanding part. The other aspect of it is explaining the actions that you took, and it's not to say that you're invalidating what they said. So the portion of understanding then comes with the fact that you recognized what you did and you apologize for it, because the principle of understanding is that you get their view and you try to make it your view. So you have to apologize. I mean, there's a trade-off of apologizing and then explaining what you did, but it doesn't invalidate. It does not need to confront the apology investigation. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I get you.
So yeah, so it doesn't really say that whatever the person has told you about how they feel or what you did made them feel um, is any less important than what you have to reason out.
Okay, I get you. Itu, you have your hand up. I think Mugwena, you also have your hand up. And songs. Or songs, is it still up because of your question?
Yeah, mine is still my question, but I can also respond.
Okay, let Itumeleng go first then, because she had hers. Yeah,
I think it's important to, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but to explain why you reacted the way you did. I don't know whether it comes from being, defensive. I think sometimes it can be, but then sometimes you also need the other person to understand
your actions.
Why. Yes, why did you whatever say what you said, or why did you react the way you did? I think it's also quite important for relationships because you need to understand each other. Sometimes it may look some type of way to you, but you don't actually understand where the other person is coming from. So also I guess maybe with me as well in my own relationship, I think it's quite important because we also have, I think also bringing in the whole love languages, where we are sort of different in how we express ourselves and all of that. So it's important to understand because then you can sometimes you don't just jump to conclusions, but then you can actually understand that okay, he's reacting like this because of 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is how he thinks and all of that. So yeah, for me, I mean it's important. I think you must just not move away from being defensive, but
yes.
just try and explain, just so that the other person can understand, where you're coming from. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. Songs, you can ask your question, I guess.
Sorry, am I asking or am I answering?
Either or, you can answer, you can ask your question.
Are we done? Does anyone else want to answer?
You're the only one with your hand up now.
I'm the only one. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. You're not unvalidating the other person. The other person, whatever they said, is still very much valid. I have an example. Sorry. Once me and my friends, we went camping and it was dark. So the only light that was there was the fire that we were sitting by. So she wanted to go to the bathroom. And then she said to me, Songs, I need to go to the bathroom, but it's quite far. So can you walk with me? So I said, okay, but let me just wait for the story to finish because I really want to hear the end of the story. So she's like, cool. But then I see her like storm off with like 2 other girls. So after the story is done, I go to her and I'm like, what's up, bruh? Like, why did you like storm off? I said I was going to come with you. And she explained that she needed the bathroom very badly, right? So she couldn't wait. So at that time, I explained to her that I explained to her, I said, I'm so sorry that I made you wait so long, but I also needed the bathroom at the time when you said that, but I guess I didn't need it as much as you did. So I didn't see the urgency in the situation. I'm sorry that I made you wait. And like that, she was able to understand my situation and I also understood hers. So I don't think explaining yourself in a situation where there's a fight invalidates the other person, but it allows you guys also to see each other's way of thinking and also get to know each other even more. So that's my answer to that question. Then,
interesting parable there.
Was it a parable? Yeah, it's a true story. So I believe you must explain yourself too, but in a way the other person can also see that you can also see their side, not that you are blocking like what they think as a person too.
Yeah.
So anyway, my question is, we date, right? We date previous people before we date the people that we are dating now, and we might even date people after that. But when we are in relationships, we go through many things that hurt us, and we might be afraid to go through those things again. So I wanted to ask to guys and girls, like, in terms of like being hurt in previous relationships and moving on and like past experiences, how has it affected your relationships now? And do you find that like it it stops you from fully being in a relationship. I don't know if that like explains what I'm trying to say.
Mahase has his hand up.
My personal opinion, I feel like if you still have things from the previous relationships that you're holding on to, then you probably shouldn't get into a new relationship. You need to deal with whatever you're going through or went through before pursuing someone new. You shouldn't leave. You shouldn't have like such things. Don't have space in the new relationship. Shouldn't have space in the new relationship.
But then do you find yourself affected by it in the actions or how you carry yourself into the new relationship? But okay, maybe you are gonna
look, depending on how the relationship how things turned out. Obviously, I went through a moment where I did self-introspection, looked at myself, what I could have done better. So my point is, whatever happened in the previous relationship, I've tried to use whatever happened in a positive manner for the current relationship moving forward. So if I wasn't an open person, I tried to be an open person moving forward. So only the positive aspects of the previous relationship that are actually going to better the current relationship, I think should stay. But otherwise, if it's issues or anything like that, I feel like you need to deal with them first before getting into a new relationship.
Yeah, I wanted to make the same comment actually, and that's why I don't believe in jumping from one relationship to the next, because you need time to honestly heal or sort out whatever happened in the previous relationship, because you cannot punish someone for something they didn't do. It's just not fair.
So do you think there's a time span before you move into a new relationship that should be there?
It doesn't have to be a set time span, however long it takes you to work through the previous hurts and the previous traumas and stuff like that. It's based on you. But yeah, there isn't a specific, I won't say like 2 years or something. It's just based on the individual.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so here's another question that came as a feedback. So around the whole institution of marriage, right? Somebody made a comment about what Esihle actually said in the previous video with the guys, that he does not see the reason why he should get married, because he can still do the same things married people can do with his partner. You don't have to be in a marriage in order to achieve partnership goals or something like that, right? So what are your views? Is there anyone here, okay, why do you guys want to get married? Like, I don't even know how to put this question, but what I'm trying to say is it, do you guys feel like we are really pressured to be, like, is it possible to just live a life proper without having to complicate it with marriage? Not that marriage is complication. I know a lot of you, or most of you, are for the institution of marriage, but like from that perspective, have you guys really thought about marriage if it's what you really want? Mahase, you had your hand up or not?
Hopefully I speak for the guys, né? But like personally, as much it's not really but then also as a guy you have to understand that because there's families involved and all of that, you have to understand that you can't really be with someone for 5-6 years and not show any kind of commitment beyond just the relationship sometimes. So we do it just to show, make it a sign of commitment that, you know what, I really want to be. But my point is, like, in an ideal world, I think as guys we wouldn't really get married if there wasn't such a thing as marriage.
So your pressure is coming from culture more than anything.
Culture, yeah, more than anything, yeah.
Okay. Itumeleng, you had a hand up there.
So I think a comment from my side is for me, it's such, I don't even know how to answer that question, to be honest, because it just, to me, feels like just the strong conviction that, I feel like eventually I am meant to, get married. And I think it's just the why of it is just a bit, I think maybe also as, I guess maybe as a Christian also, it's quite easy to say that, eventually, you don't just want to date someone and, just continue dating and playing around or whatever, but you want to get to a stage where you are committing to someone. And I think it's another level of commitment, rather than just a long-term relationship. It's like you are committing to someone in front of your family, your friends, and God as well, and you are like coming together and becoming one, So for me, it's really just, I guess, the conviction that I have. But I must say, as to why, like, I can't really have a specific, definite answer. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think I don't really have much to say, but I must say, I think for me, it's just a beautiful thing that I definitely want to experience eventually. And I must say, I guess calling myself out is that I think I do put a lot of pressure on my boyfriend when talking about marriage, because for me, like, if it were up to me, even next year, I'd be like, hey, let's do the things, the marriage things. But he's more, I think, logical and practical. So I think for guys, it's something, something different than, for us as women. And I don't know, I actually had a question. It was something similar to that. So I don't know if I can ask, or if anyone else wants to comment.
Yeah, let's have Fifi and Josi comment, and then we can ask the question. Yes,
okay, in the girls' chat, I remember I mentioned that I was questioning the entire idea behind marriage. And I know this might be like an unpopular opinion, but for me, the biggest thing was I felt like marriage was never made to benefit women. So that's why I was questioning the entire marriage thing. But I've gotten to a point where I feel like two people need to do what works for them. So even if I do decide to get married, I will do what works for my partner and I, and move away from what society deems as a normal marriage or how marriage should look. So yeah, I think that's where I am right now.
What do you mean when you say marriage does not benefit the female? In what sense?
In the labor sense, I feel. In the terms of, a man will pay lobola, and because he's paid lobola, you must now change your surname. You must now be a glorified domestic within the relationship. So that's why I feel like it's just a lot of labor for women. Women are the primary caretakers of the children historically, and now on top of that, we also work, so we're also bringing in money, but we're still expected to be playing the roles that we played in 1965, so that was my thing around it. But I've gotten to a point where the person I am with understands me and how I view things, so we will make it work like that.
Okay.
Sorry guys, what was the question? I was struggling with connectivity.
Yeah, hey, you've been doing up and down. So it's a question about marriage. It comes from a comment that was made that in the last session with the guys, Esikle had said he's not for the institution of marriage because he does not see what he cannot do with his partner outside of marriage, like compared to people who are married. So the question was like, how do people feel about marriage? Is it really what you really want? Yeah. So yeah, it was around that. So Josi
Can I
has
answer?
okay. Josi will go, then you'll go after him.
No, it's okay, ladies first.
Ooh.
Okay.
I find that problematic also, hey? Why, Josi? Why should ladies go first?
Hey, bruh, let the ladies just go first. Leave that's feminism. Hey, ladies first.
There's nothing discriminatory about that.
It's nothing. I'm not taking offense. Don't worry.
All right. Ladies first.
So it's marriage. Okay, I do absolutely want to get married, and I've done my research, and I'm still doing my research on it, on why I particularly want to get married and what does marriage look like. I'm Christian. My Bible is my source. So what marriage is, how God created it, was that two people come together in a partnership and him in the earthly terms. So basically, the man's responsibility is to love the wife as Christ has loved the church. That means you're going to have to die for me, for everything. You're going to have to protect me through everything. And I feel like it's such a huge role for guys to play. And then in a sense, like my connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Maybe switch off your video, then it becomes better.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's a partnership, and I really feel like relationships are quite different. So for you to expect me to be cleaning 24/7 and for me to be doing all the other domesticated things that our parents might say, this is what a wife should be doing and this is what a husband should be doing, but then our relationship dynamic is not like that, then it doesn't make sense for us to be doing those things if we haven't agreed on them. And I think that in marriage, I hate to call it an institution. For me, it's not an institution, it's a relationship. And for me, like I always say, like I always look at it from a Christian perspective. What is done in a normal relationship that is not a marriage, the one defining thing is sex for me. Like for me, I truly still believe that sex should be done in a marriage. If you're doing it outside of a marriage, that's your choice. I choose for it to be in a marriage, and that's my defining point from looking at it from like, okay, now do I want to have a life partner or do I want to remain single for the rest of my life? Sex is the thing that I want to do, so I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to have sex. So I always look at it from that point of view. But like I said in the beginning, for me, marriage is partnership. How it's done, it's up to us.
Okay, you mentioned the Bible, right? And you said husbands should love their wives, but it also says wives need to submit to their husbands. So meaning this labor should be taking place. So why are you guys very selective in what you want in the marriage?
I don't think it's labor. Submission, I don't think it's in a sense that the world keeps on saying it's at. What we've defined it to be is that everything the man says, yebo baba, ngiyakuzwa, yebo, yonke into iyahamba. No, it's not like that. The man first needs to be in a position where he's able to lead me, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or whatever. He needs to lead the household. And my submission to that is just out of respect. And it's not a yes, man, you are holier than thou. No, it's for me to just respect you as a man and see you as the leader and have a like I don't even know how to explain the submission that is in the Bible versus what the world is saying, but I really think it's not in labor.
Yeah.
It's not entirely in labor. I feel like there's an aspect of labor that is also included. I don't know, my view. I feel like it's not entirely labor. It's not like that's the only submission there is, but labor is also one of the many forms of submission.
I not with that part. Cannot read that one. I still, it's a partnership. You do like I always like it's just how are we in our relationship going to be doing things like it. I don't think it has to. Okay, maybe labor is in it, but then how are we splitting that labor? You know, what if I'm the breadwinner in the household? It doesn't make you less of a man, but I'm still submitting. And you're
Submitting
still
how? But you need to define the submitting, because then you're very
Ish,
vague.
I don't want to say the wrong things. I really want to say the wrong things. I want to come here with concise things. Because now they're going to be like, hey, the Bible said, no, wait, we'll come back.
Okay, that's interesting, Mukwena. Okay, Josi.
Thanks. So I think, like personally for me, I think marriage is great. Marriage is good, and I'll tell you why. Because yeah, I think this generation, especially our generation, we sort of misconstrued or misunderstood the our understanding of what marriage is, and we see marriage as women going into marriage and just basically being slaves in marriage, and this is not actually what marriage is. And I think to Mokwena's point, it's not a yes ma'am, yes sir type of environment. It's a how can I help you to become a better person? Saying this to the lady, and the lady saying this to the man. How can I help you to become a better person? And in fact, what marriage actually does is there was even a study that was done of people that were born, I think probably in the early 1920s. So there was a study that was done of these people for 75 years, and what the study managed to find is that people who were in relationships and in marriage found themselves a lot more healthier and happier. Having the knowledge of you're spending the rest of your life with this person who makes you happy. I mean, it does not take away the fact that there will always be fights and commotion and a lot of arguments and stuff. But I think if marriage is taken with the eye of I'm in this life with this person to help me to be a better person, not that I'm in this life for this person to raise my kids to I don't know, to be domesticated. Those are not. That's not supposed to be the construct of marriage, and that's sort of the social view of what marriage is that it's an environment of oppression, and it's not supposed to be an environment of oppression for either one of the people who are married. And marriage is the reason why marriage is also such a good thing is because it joins families. It makes the family big. And with families that are big, there's a whole lot of dynamics that occurs within the people's lives. I've seen it with my cousins. I've seen it with my sister. You get to really bond as a family. You get to really be union as a family. So I don't know. I just feel like society has a weird view of what marriage is, and perhaps maybe it's because a lot of marriages that are seen today portray such an image, but fundamentally that's not what marriage is all about. And I think it'll take a lot for us to be able to change that mindset about marriage and what marriage stands for.
Okay, so from my understanding, for those who like really want to go for marriage, it's more of a religious. It's guided mainly by religion. Am I?
And culture. I think
And
culture
okay.
as well has an aspect of touches the aspect of marriage as well.
Yeah.
There's certain cultural norms, as Africans that we've adopted because of marriage. It's ceremonious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't particularly think it's only based on religion, but it's also culturally it's a ceremony of families meeting together and being one.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of it.
Okay. All right. Agreed. Yeah, guys. Any more questions that you guys have for one another or for everyone?
Maybe not so much on relationships, but because I think we've been playing a lot in that space. I just wanted to understand, like, from a career perspective, because I particularly find this quite interesting, especially in the corporate space, where there's one spectrum of the fact that they say men are always occupying leadership roles, and they're the only ones that get to occupy these roles. But what I wanted to understand is what sort of challenges do women face within corporate environments, or in this environment called work. Like, I just want to understand that side of women. Like, well, what sort of challenges do you guys face, especially when it comes to applying for these big roles and or getting opportunities, or whatever.
Okay. Can I take also? I'll then Mukwena, you can go first and then I'll go after you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah. Hey, you corporate being black and women. So you know what they say when they usually say that when you're black, you need to work twice as hard just to be recognized. Then as a black woman, you need to work 3 or 4 times even harder to be heard, not even to be recognized, to be heard, G. So for me as a millennial and a black female millennial in corporate, it's been extremely hard, because you find that, like, even with simple things, you call a meeting, you get there, they don't address you because who are you, and you're just like, oh, okay, so like, I'm making the decision here, how are you not looking at me, and you're looking at either a male or you're looking at a white person. And for me, especially even with my name, people on email would like talk to me like with a whole lot of respect until they meet me and find out that shucks, she's female, and then now that respect kind of like goes down. So it's like it's very tiring, because you constantly need to be on top of all kinds of games, and you always need to be either the loudest but not too loud.
You
need to be always, you need to have an opinion in every single thing, even if you just say, no guys, that I agree with everything, thank you. What was that? You don't need to say anything, but because you're black, you have to say it, just so that they can recognize that you're in the room. So now when it comes to promotions and all of that, my biggest problem is that we are ticking boxes. Like, so much of it, you can already see that this has been strategic, and this has nothing to do with your talent, has nothing to do with what you can bring to the table, but has everything to do with the fact that you're black and that you're female, and they're trying to get their scores up. And it's a bit tough, because the thing is, they always give you a position where you speak to black people. Like, if your consumer base is black, honey, that's your position.
You're the face
rest
because
of
you're
us
black.
are going to talk to the top white male people while you speak to the black people that we can't relate to. And that's as far as you can go. So it's pretty tough. Like I never want to look at it as in a negative connotation, but those are the things that we're constantly facing. And I'm trying by all means just to be like, yo, you're gonna have to respect me for what I can bring to the table. But those barriers keep on coming every single day. So yeah, that's been my experience.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I have a kind of different experience, right? So when it comes to being heard, I've been in different teams where there was one place where I was heard, like I felt like whatever I said was taken seriously, and then not because of it, like being black, being female was not a problem, and then there was the whole thing of age. I think I felt the thing of age, that you're a woman and you're young. But then that was not much of a problem. But the most biggest problem that I've faced is remuneration, you know? This whole thing of chelete, because you're a girl, because you're a female, you are not expected to provide. This is one reason that when I had a conversation with some of the guys who actually I really appreciated that they actually opened up to me. We were in the same level and we had this conversation and they were open to tell me how much they're earning, and they gave me their side of the story. You know what? It's because you're a female, because society doesn't expect you to be a provider at home, so you don't have to bring a lot of money home just because you're a female, you know? That is an issue, but I had to fight for that. And then another observation that I've had in corporate, I did not experience it, but I can see it with other ladies, especially when women fall pregnant, right? It becomes a problem. Like when you become pregnant, it's like you're becoming disabled, you know? They don't consider you, they don't take you seriously anymore. I've seen people who've missed increases, who've missed bonuses because they were on maternity leave. I really felt like that is one of the challenges women really face in corporate. So it's like now you need to plan when you get pregnant. It's either earlier in your career so that you can grow later, or if you're growing, like, you know, you just don't know when is the right time for you to like right now, like I'm still working to build my career. So it's not something I would actually think of saying, okay, I want to get pregnant, I want to have a child, because then that means career-wise it's going to damage me, you know? They're not going to consider me. It's gonna hinder my growth, you know. So I think that is also one of the observations that I've made in corporate when it comes to females. Okay, Rafida, you can go.
I think I've got like two major challenges. The first is the lack of representation that Black women have in corporate. Where I work, all the Black people are in junior roles, particularly the Black woman. We don't have a single Black female partner. You know, the highest level they'll get is probably like manager if we're lucky. So it's very hard trying to work towards getting to a certain point when you know that corporate is actively working to keep you
at a lower level.
A certain level. So we kind of hit a ceiling and we have to fight to get to like if any further than that. And the second thing is not being able to be assertive without being labeled the angry Black woman.
Oh Lord.
I find that so problematic. Whenever you raise issues, and these are like valid things, when you raise a valid concern, no, you're being difficult. No, you're just aggressive. You're angry. You know. So those are my biggest issues in corporate.
Gwenna, do you have your hand raised, or is it from the last time?
No, it's the previous hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, guys. Yeah, no, it's really tough being female in corporate. Sometimes we really go through the most, and it's when you sit and observe and you actually like take it in. Because when it's happening real time, you sometimes like brush it off and you're like, okay. But when you take a real observation and you're just like, yeah, no, this world is not favoring us at all. Any more comments? Questions?
Sorry to bring that pressing discussion.
No, it's not
question.
interesting. It's supposed to be spoken about.
Yeah.
It should be. And also just the guys, like, be open with your female counterparts in corporate. Like, you know, it really helps. Like, even this whole salary talk,
Yeah, it does help
it really helps.
like
It
a lot,
helps
a lot.
Just a question.
And also, I think also us as females, we need to be open with them too, so that they can understand too, because they don't know. Like Jose just said, like to ask now, so I don't know what's going on our side.
And another thing also, okay, well, all the ladies managers or that I have been exposed to have been great, but I know of people who have female managers that keep on pushing them down, you know. I think that's also a problem that women are they're always competing against each other in corporate. Like, you want to be the only one there with the male who is sitting at top, you know. That, like, I find that
And males don't take you seriously in corporate.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Like, we don't need to go into it deeply, but like about salaries, why are they keeping it non-transparent? I get, because I mean, people aren't being paid fairly, but like, what's so bad about having salaries transparent for each level, so that I want to know how much I'm going to get when I go to whatever level, not how much you think I should get because I'm me at that level, you know. So would it be a huge problem if everyone knew how much whoever gets?
I think it's a privacy thing. I think in the policies that are managed by, you know, from a human capital perspective, there's a policy that someone's pay is their own private matter. So that's why even
should it be though?
Yes, it should. The reason for that, and I didn't do HR, so I'm not too particularly sure why, but I'm sure there is a reason as to why the pay that is given to someone shouldn't be disclosed to anyone. I think also, so I've worked with quite a lot of female managers, so they've been my manager, and what I've noticed in that process, where, you know, because during year end periods, we get given, you know, your increases or bonuses or whatever, but in that process, not even your manager can be able to see the increase that you get or even the bonus that you get. So I think from an HR point of view, there's I don't know what goes on in that management of pays and salaries and stuff, but it's I don't think it's supposed to be disclosed to, you know, any person.
Would you change it though?
I
honestly don't know. I think for me it doesn't make any difference, but the fact that I can be able to tell my price and tell my price the way I want to, you know, be paid. I think for me it doesn't matter who ends what or who doesn't end what.
You know, I understand it from a perspective that we can be in the same role and not get paid the same because maybe we have different experiences. Most, like, especially if, let's say, somebody's coming from two different places, joining a same company, but we're going to do the same role. It could be, you know, that the salary might differ, you know. But yesterday I read an article that was saying, on average, Black people are earning 3 times less what white people are earning. So I feel like this
Imagine.
came with the new era when we got this democracy and stuff. It was part of it to still do good by the white people, not to bring in race or sound racist or anything, but like I still feel like this privacy thing, it's just hiding the inequality, you know? It's kind of like playing there in the inequality phase. As much as I understand the privacy part of it, but I also feel like it's just hiding the inequality that we have in South Africa. That's just my opinion. Refilo, you wanted to say something?
I agree fully with you, Tabiso. I'll make an example with where I work. We started being open about our salaries on like a firm-wide level. And it came up that white consultants are earning way more than black managers. So it made
Imagine
no sense.
consultant and manager.
Exactly. So someone who is below you and reporting to you is earning way more than you. So that became a huge thing within the firm, and people are like, no, we're actually not gonna stand for this anymore. And they had to change the entire way they determine people's salaries. So when they give you your increase letter, for example, they'll tell you what for example, because I'm a consultant, your letter will say what the consultants in the market earn and how you rank based on that. And then they'll tell you the salary for the next level, so the level just above you, what that market salary is. So they've tried being transparent in that manner. So I know if I were to be a manager, I know how much I should expect to be getting based on the market. So I think transparency is so important, and these conversations are extremely necessary because they open up a can of worms and they expose all the inequalities. So yeah.
Yeah, guys. Oh, interesting. Any more questions, or should we wrap it? We've been going for an hour and 30 minutes now.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it.
Yeah, now I'm looking at blank screens. Everybody's cameras are off.